air in the abandoned school was thick with an eerie stillness. As I stepped through the creaking doors, a shiver ran down my spine, sending a wave of unease through my entire body. The flickering lights overhead cast ominous shadows that danced across the cold, desolate hallway. I had heard whispers about the school being haunted, but curiosity had gotten the better of me. Determined to prove the skeptics wrong, I embarked on a solo exploration. The echoing sound of my footsteps reverberated through the empty corridors, creating an unsettling rhythm that echoed my growing trepidation. My flashlight struggled against the darkness, revealing dusty lockers and abandoned classrooms, frozen in time. The silence was occasionally broken by the distant creaks and groans of the old building settling, amplifying the sensation that I was not alone. I tried to convince myself that it was just my imagination, that the rumors were nothing more than stories concocted by overactive minds. As I reached the second floor, a sudden chill enveloped me. The temperature dropped dramatically, and I could see my breath forming icy clouds in the air. Goosebumps crawled up my arms, and I felt an unseen presence lurking in the shadows. I quickened my pace, my heart pounding in my chest. I entered a classroom, its door hanging loosely on its hinges. The desks were arranged neatly as if awaiting the return of students who had long since vanished. It was then that I heard the faint whisper of a child's laughter. My breath caught in my throat as I strained to listen. The laughter grew louder, echoing through the empty space, chilling me to the bone. In the dim light, I caught a glimpse of a shadowy figure darting across the room. Panic set in as I fumbled for my flashlight, desperately trying to illuminate the darkness. The laughter continued, now accompanied by the sound of footsteps echoing in a haunting rhythm. I stumbled out of the classroom and found myself in a dimly lit corridor lined with lockers that seemed to stretch endlessly. The air was thick with a strange energy, and the temperature continued to drop. Whispers surrounded me, indistinct and unintelligible, creating an otherworldly symphony that sent shivers down my spine. Suddenly, the lockers began to rattle, their metal doors vibrating in a macabre dance. The whispering grew louder, merging into an unsettling chorus. I felt a cold hand on my shoulder, and I spun around, only to find the hallway empty. The sensation of being watched intensified, and I realized that I was not alone in this haunted school. Terrified, I fled down the corridor, my footsteps echoing in tandem with the ghostly laughter that pursued me. As I reached the exit, I glanced back one last time, catching a fleeting glimpse of shadowy figures in the darkness. The door slammed shut behind me, sealing the haunted school and its spectral inhabitants within. To this day, I can still hear the echoes of that chilling laughter and the haunting whispers that lingered in the air. A constant reminder of the otherworldly encounter in the abandoned school. The moon hung low in the midnight sky, casting a faint glow over the deserted school building. I had heard whispers about an abandoned school on the outskirts of town, an old structure that had become a refuge for the forgotten. With a curious mix of trepidation and sympathy, I decided to explore the decaying halls to unravel the mystery that shrouded this forgotten place. As I pushed open the squeaky entrance doors, the pungent odor of decay greeted me. The dim light from my flashlight flickered across the barren hallways, revealing remnants of a forgotten pastor, chalkboard covered in dust, lockers with missing doors, and desolate classrooms swallowed by darkness. A sudden noise caught my attention, a muffled shuffle echoing through the empty corridors. I froze, straining my ears to pinpoint the source. The air felt charged with an unfamiliar energy, and an unsettling feeling crept over me. The shuffling sounds persisted, guiding me towards an ominous presence concealed within the shadows. I cautiously made my way through the labyrinth of hallways until I stumbled upon a doorway, barely visible in the dark. As my flashlight illuminated the room, I discovered the source of the mysterious sounds, a makeshift shelter comprised of tattered blankets and discarded items occupied by a lone figure. A man, weathered by time and hardship, sat huddled in a corner. His eyes, glazed with a mixture of weariness and resignation, met mine. A shock of tangled hair framed his weather-beaten face, and layers of ragged clothing barely shielded him from the biting cold. The realization struck Maya was homeless, seeking refuge within the abandoned school's desolation. The man's gaze held a silent plea, a mix of vulnerability and defiance. In that moment, our worlds collided as desperate, struggle for survival juxtaposed against the forgotten echoes of a once vibrant institution. I hesitated, torn between the desire to explore further and the recognition of this man's need for solitude. As I retreated, the air seemed to grow thicker, with unspoken stories. The weight of the abandoned school bearing witness to the silent struggles of the homeless man within its decaying walls. As I emerged back into the night, the distant wails of the wind seemed to carry the echoes of the man's solitary existence. The abandoned school, once a hub of learning and laughter, had become a refuge for a soul. Pushed to the fringes of society, a poignant reminder that even in the eerie emptiness of forgotten places, stories of survival and resilience endure.